Nvidia stock had a rough day today. The stock was down roughly 4%. On today's episode, what I want to do is take a closer look at what could be some of the bearish sentiments kind of focusing on the stock right now. And I just want to share my overall thoughts on the company. But before we go anywhere, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button, as this is going to be the best place you're going to find any semiconductor news and AI news in general. And also check out the pinned comment for special offer at fool.com/Jose and my special coupon for my earnings ebook with a special offer down below. So let's get started.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so Nvidia right now is sitting at $136 as I am recording today's episode. The stock was down roughly 4%, and we can see after hours, the stock is down another 0.75%, sitting at after hour closes of 135. So in the past month, we can see Nvidia is down roughly 3.9%, but from its monthly high, the stock is down roughly 8.6%. So there's definitely been kind of this negative sentiment towards the stock. And if you guys know me, I'm super bullish in the company in the long term, but throughout all my videos, I've always mentioned that, hey, look, I believe Nvidia is a stock that would benefit more the patient investor at these levels. And again, that's not saying that I'm bearish in the stock, but I believe with volatility, the stock can give us better opportunities. Even with this price drop, I personally wouldn't be buying big at these levels. It would either be very small dollar cost averaging. I mentioned it in previous episodes, but just a quick reiteration. I'm not saying we're going to get to these levels, but where I would personally believe it's better to add would be somewhere between the 115s and the 125s. Those would be levels where I wouldn't be too bad about dollar cost averaging. But remember, everybody has their own personal financing decision. For me, Nvidia is already my biggest position, so I do have the luxury to be more patient than others. But if you kind of want to see some bullish valuations for Nvidia with this kind of decrease, Nvidia's forward PE ratio, which is for 1 year, the end of next fiscal year, so about 14 months from now, is about 31. For Amazon, for nearly that same price time range, is around 32. So we can see Nvidia is actually trading cheaper than Amazon. So some might see that as a very bullish case and showcases why Nvidia definitely deserves to hold this $3 trillion market cap when we look at these valuations. Now, the first bearish news, in my opinion, is this Amazon and Anthropic news that came over this past Friday. I actually did a video about this earlier this morning if you really want to see the deep dive, but too long, don't watch. Amazon is investing more money in Anthropic, roughly $4 billion. And Anthropic, for those that are not familiar, is a huge AI company, kind of the competitor to ChatGPT. With this partnership, Anthropic, this AI company, is going to help Amazon kind of optimize and develop their next generations of AI chips to be better for AI workloads. So some investors might be saying, hey, Jose, this is going to help Amazon be less dependent of Nvidia chips, and it's going to help, and it's going to kind of reduce the growth of Nvidia solutions. I've talked about it in this episode, and in many episodes, there's a huge difference between Nvidia GPUs and ASIC solutions, which these big tech players provide. And I don't believe any of that is a fear for Amazon anytime soon. Obviously, in the future, I might be able to change my decision, as this is a tech market that continues to evolve. But in the short term of things, or at least within the next year or two, I wouldn't see this anything affecting Nvidia stock besides the volatility that it adds to the stock price. But in forms of, as an investor, of a bullish investor in Nvidia, this doesn't break my thesis at all. But definitely great news for Amazon. Like I mentioned, check that video out. But I believe this creates noise and negative volatility for those that are not educated and understand the difference between Nvidia's chips and ASIC chips developed by Amazon and all these other big tech players. So I believe that's the first big news. The second big news, in my opinion, could be coming with things like this. We did hear reports that China is accelerating its US chip stockpiling ahead of Trump's second term, as October imports surged 60% year over year. So many companies in China and AI companies in China seem to be buying more AI chips and front loading right now due to fears that the Trump administrations might add even more tariffs, more export restrictions, and kind of reduce the ability for Nvidia to send AI chips to China. So for those that are not familiar, Nvidia already cannot send the best AI chips to China, but they have designed their own AI chip that meets export restriction laws, and they have shipped them to China. And they're actually seeing some good revenue in the Chinese market, and they mentioned about it during their earnings call. While China in forms of revenue is no longer the size it used to be, it is still growing thanks to these export restriction chips, these chips that kind of are able to pass the export regulations. So now the fear is with the Trump administration, we're going to see even more export restrictions, and even those that currently pass might fail. So it seems like AI companies are front loading. So could create some kind of tailwind in the short term by increasing revenue, but in the long term, it could be a headwind, as this could be something that can maybe decline revenue in the upcoming quarters. Again, we don't know where it's going to go, and we definitely have been hearing about some tariffs increase as well in the semiconductor space. So all that is adding more volatility to companies like Nvidia, where sometimes might be priced to perfection. Again, this, in my opinion, the Chinese market, I don't believe is a big long-term thesis for me. I think the AI market is evolving at such a rapid pace that Nvidia will have plenty and plenty of demand from multiple countries all over the world, especially as AI continues to evolve and evolve. So it might create some short-term pain, but in the long term, I have no need to sell Nvidia based on these two news that I discussed. Now, we do have some bullish news impacting Nvidia right now. So Nvidia, if you check out their blog today on November 25th, did announce a new some of their generative AI research team have kind of developed a pretty cool model that is used for audio. And here you can kind of either mix your audio, generate new audio, do crazy things with text to audio, and I think it's pretty impressive. I definitely would recommend, if you're curious about it, they do have a 3-minute video here, and you can see all the baby stuff that I have to put on for my little one. But here we can see that Nvidia gives us a 3-minute breakdown of this new AI model, which generates sound from text. And to me, it's pretty insane. And I can't wait to kind of see something like this go out to the public and kind of increase the creativity in the market. So this is just another way of showcasing that, hey, look, large language models and AI models are not just meant for text to text. There's various other use cases like text to voice, text to video, and the list goes on, text to robotic movements and stuff like that. So the AI market is so vast, and it just shows the various growth opportunities for Nvidia. Now, this has actually been pretty big news in the memory space. During the earnings, Jensen kind of gave thanks to a lot of memory companies, and one company that they didn't address was Samsung. So for those that are not familiar, AI accelerators use a special type of memory called HBM. The three main players that create HBM are SK Hynix, Micron Technologies, and Samsung. And that's actually the lead as well. SK Hynix leads the market and is the #1 player and provides the most to Nvidia. The second one that's really starting off is Micron Technologies. And the third, who seems to be having a lot of issues, is Samsung. But during a recent interview at Bloomberg, Jensen did clarify that they are working with Samsung to continue evaluation of those chips and hoping to validate them pretty soon. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is Mark Bainoff. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, but he is the CEO of Salesforce. And he is talking that he believes that large language models have kind of hit some form of top for now, and he believes the next thing is AI agents or autonomous agents. To be honest, I'm actually pretty excited for autonomous agents. For those that are not familiar, autonomous agents are going to be AI that will be able to help out with your with anything you want to do. They're going to be pretty much your virtual assistant. So I'm already trying to learn how to do that, because me personally, being a one-man team here in this YouTube space, in the semiconductor space, I want to have an agent that be like, hey, look, I want to create a script based on these topics that I want to discuss. Here are my own thoughts. Can you give me a script, or can you go find information about this company? They just reported earnings and so on and so forth. So it can definitely help me increase in my content creation, in my learning of the semiconductor space, in my learning of the AI space in general. So I think AI agents is very important, but and it's going to be a very big market. And I believe Nvidia can definitely benefit from this. So again, in the long term, super bullish for Nvidia. In the short term, obviously anything can happen. And even with the stock price, this is not something I would be worried about. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you all tomorrow.